The Homeschool Aficionado podcast, and I welcome you. Today, we have Hannah Hall. This is from Hannah Faith Creations. I met her at a worship event one time. She was painting live, and I've seen it done before, I guess from afar, but I've seen it, but this time it was up close. So this is my sit down talk with Hannah. Awesome conversation. I enjoyed just sitting down and getting to know her. You are going to love her also. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my interview with the creator, the artist, Hannah Hall.
Hello, everybody. This is Lynn Pierre. I am hanging out here with Hannah Hall. Now, first of all, Hannah, I have a special story about how I met you, but go ahead and introduce yourself first, and then I'll get into how I ran across you.
Okay, sounds good. So my name is Hannah. I was born and raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina. My family's super close. I have it's kind of southern is what we call it, but I have my mom and her sister married my dad and his brother. So I have double first cousins, so brothers married sisters. So a lot of us look exactly the same. So I have a big dysfunctional functional family is what I like to call it. We love Jesus and we all
Yes.
sing, and it wasn't until I was about 17 that I found art and painting, and that has changed the course of my life and what I do now. And so I'm an artist out of Fayetteville, and I guess we'll go more into detail about that, but I love Jesus and I paint, and I have a sweet little boy and a husband in there, and I'm just happy to be here.
Okay, so cool. The way that I met you, well, first of all, I have like a I have a long-standing relationship with art. And I say that just because when I was little, funny enough, when I was in church, when I was very little, in order to stay awake, I would enjoy drawing the back of people's heads that was sitting in front of me in the pew in front of me. So that's one of the things that I did to stay awake. And when I was
Oh,
little, I would draw cartoons like Daffy Duck and Elmer Fudd, stuff like that. And then as I got older, I only took one sort of real art class, and I was in college because I need an elective. But I
yeah.
love art. I'm always asking people about, their tattoos. Where'd you get the tattoo from? Describe it to me and tell me about it. I love art in all forms. So I'm at this worship night at the church, and all of a sudden, I think I was there early because I was part of the prayer team. And as I was talking to one of the other people that were there, they said, "Yeah, my what's it niece, and is she your aunt?
Yes.
Yes." So she
Yep.
said, "Oh, yeah, my niece is coming. She's going to do a live painting during the worship service." I said, "She's going to do," and so that in and of itself is something that I've never experienced. I've experienced it before. I believe I experienced it at I think it was at a concert or something. I don't know what it was, but I experienced it before, but never at like an intimate worship service. So then I
Right.
said, "Oh well, I got to meet her." So then we went on through the night, and then I met you, and then I saw you paint during the worship service. So I was thoroughly impressed. So I said, "Oh, who is she? Okay, I got to get to know her." So therefore, that's when I went up to you, met you, and we got all this together. And so now that how you ended up on my podcast today. So thank you so
Yes.
much for giving me your time and attention with your craft, because your craft is super cool. So I
Thank you.
know that you said you started painting at 17 years old. So when did you actually have some type of formal training in art?
So, and I like to tell this to people. I've always been a creative person. I've like in school growing up, I was like the person who was like, I'll take the poster project. Like
Yeah.
I always wanted to color and do markers, and like I loved handwriting, but so the painting just kind of came naturally. It was like a God-given thing when I was 17. It wasn't until about a year into college that I was like, okay, wait, I really love this. People are clearly interested because at the time I was just painting for my dorm as decoration. And then the girls that were on the floor, I was in an all girl dorm. So a bunch of sorority sisters around me,
Wow.
and they all were wanting paintings. And so I kind of started painting for fun, not charging anything. And my mom kind of told me, hey, look, I love this hobby that you have now, but you're not going to paint another painting until you charge for it. Because let's face it, I didn't have a job. So she was paying for all my stuff
Yes, all your
and
supplies and everything.
all of my supplies. I kind of started up the business kind of in my mom's kitchen and just posted everything I had done, and it blew up in my face. And so, with all that being said, I realized how much I loved it. And I was like, well, maybe I can switch gears here and do something where I combine my love for art with something that's more stable. Because at the time, being a full time artist is not in college what they kind of train you to do. Right. It's
Right.
kind of looked down, not down upon, but kind of, people kind of tell you not to put all your eggs in one basket and just
Mm,
go for art. So I did art education. So I started my art career in school training in like 2017. And so it was full courses, studio time in art, learning all the different techniques. And then the other half of it was the education portion. So I've learned anything from oil painting, acrylic painting, watercolor painting, textiles, printmaking, ceramics, sculpture, you name it, fashion,
everything.
design, everything. Because now if I was to just go for painting, it would be geared more towards just painting. But see, I was going to teach it, so I had to know all the different techniques in order to be able to teach it. So that's kind of how the formal aspect has come into play. And I feel like I'm very well versed because I know a bunch of different things, but acrylic paint was my love. So
In your
that's kind of
thing.
what I've yeah.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit. I want to go back to when your mom was buying all your stuff. And so when you say that she wants you to start charging and it blew up, like what do you mean? Like tell me what happened between the time you were just doing it for fun, just giving away for free, and then you finally saying, I'm gonna charge you $25, $100, $1 million for this painting. Like how did you make that switch over?
Well, that honestly, that's something I still struggle with today, even, doing this almost 9-ish, 10-ish years, whatever. So it's something, finding your worth as an artist is really hard as far as it goes with the financial portion of it, but especially just jumping into it like, Mom, you think I could charge someone to paint a flower? And she's like, obviously, they're wanting it. Like you have 30 paintings to do and you're just doing them. Like there's time, there's the supplies, there's your talent, and she's a very business oriented person. And so um I just kind of was like, are you sure? She was like, yeah, just do it. The worst that can happen is you don't get any more inquiries and it's now a hobby and you love to do it and we move on, but why not just try it? And so I posted that night every painting. So like normally with Instagram, I don't know if you know the cool ins and outs of Instagram, but you're only supposed to post once a day. Well, I posted like 30. I spammed Instagram. I had no followers, so I just posted like 35 things at one time and just followed everybody I knew. And it just quite literally that night. It was by that was like a Tuesday or something. By that Saturday, I probably had 40 inquiries for commissions, like 40 people wanting paintings, whether it was a floral or whether it was their dog or whether it was whatever. And see, I didn't even do dogs at the time. I didn't do live breathing things at the time. And so it was very much a trust the process. And I guess I'll do this for $50. Is that good with you? Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Like it just kind of was a learning curve. And then as I got more and more comfortable with what I was painting, I got more and more comfortable with my prices. Then I actually made a website and had a sheet of prices. And it's just honestly, as I've progressed in my skill, it's just kind of grown from that. And just having the experience too and the training, all of that has affected obviously how I charge for any painting and what I do. So that's just kind of how
Yeah, I
it
started.
started.
Now
Yeah.
go back to the feeling. I want you to talk to me about what do you feel when you posted all the, well, first of all, let's say this. What were you thinking when you just threw up 30 on Instagram? Did you think that someone was going to actually want them? Like, and when you put them up there, did you put them up there with, I'm selling these? How did you word it on Instagram that very first time?
think it was more so like wanting to share that I can do this. Like it was more
Okay.
so like obviously the goal, the hope was that maybe someone would be interested enough to trust me with a painting
Uh-huh.
or to buy a painting from me. And also because my mom's like, you need a job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that initial post was like a little bit of nerves and a little bit of what are they going to think?
Yes.
Um, do they like my work, kind of thing. And the response that I got was what was so comforting because it was like immediate. Oh my gosh, people truly, truly enjoy what I'm making. And so, I mean, that just
Wow.
gives you momentum right off the gate. Like that gives you, and I know we're not supposed to look to others for their gratification, but I'm telling you, their approval in that moment it was so needed for me to
Yes.
be able to make that leap. So it was very comforting to know that that was a desire of people, and so I just kind of jumped all in. Yeah.
So, so first of all, let's say this. Had your mother not pushed you, then you probably wouldn't have jumped, and at least not that quickly. You wouldn't have gone to trying to sell them. I think what I think is so
Exactly.
cool, yeah. What I think is so cool about this first part of your story, being an artist, is that and then some like summer's coming up. Depending on when you're watching this, summer's coming up, and there are a bunch of kids out there that are creatives and instead of them thinking about, wow, what do I love to do so much that I would do it for free and it might be of value to someone else, they don't think like that. They think of, I need to go work for Chick-fil-A. I need to go work for Walmart. I need to go find a job somewhere. And I was telling my kids the other day, I was like, wow, because we do an author class at my school. And it's like, I'm telling you, hey, why don't you, write something or do something or like you paint a picture and then see if someone can buy it. Because think about how long is it going to take you to make $50 at Chick-fil-A as opposed to you can make $50, by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. And you're actually doing something that you enjoy doing. So I love that you used that example and told that story because I want young people in this entire homeschool community to know that you can do something that can make someone smile, that will make someone find joy in life or whatever, but you can add value to someone's life. And to you, is you just playing around. You're just having fun. But to them, wow, I can't draw, but she can. So I
Right.
love that story. Right now, I know that well, oh no, we gotta go back because we gotta go back to you going into the school system because we
Yes.
didn't talk about that. Now,
Yes.
so you're in college, you get all this education, and everything. During this time, are you still making art and putting it on Instagram and still selling, or have you sort of backed off when you were in school?
So no, I went full force. It only kind of grew from there. It literally put me through college. So,
No way.
and my husband, yes, oh yes. So my husband now was my boyfriend in college, and so it supplied my drives to Raleigh to go see him and to support me just being a college student and food to eat and clothes to wear. I mean, it truly financially supported me, but also just kind of gave me that,
Confidence.
extra, yeah, confidence, desire, happiness because I've found a passion that I love so much. And so, yeah, so throughout school, I was constantly painting. And then I booked my first wedding in 2018. And so for the next, because I didn't graduate till 20, so I did school throughout the week, internship, whatever have you, and then I would go and do a wedding on the weekend, and then I'd come back and be a full-time student. Um, I did that full time. I was a student and I worked full time on my business. And then when I started teaching, 2020, what a lovely year that was.
Uh-huh.
I started teaching in the midst of
Mm.
COVID.
Yeah.
And so that was rough for everyone, kids and teachers alike. But I'd started teaching at that time and still doing my weddings even through COVID. I did some weddings now, not when it was full lockdown, but when we kind of opened back up, I was
Right.
still doing that full time and doing commissions as much as I could. So yeah, it just kind of snowball effect grew from that moment in the kitchen with my mom to to what put me through college. So,
Okay, I want to I want complete clarity on this. Now, are you
okay.
saying that your artwork pay for your extracurricular stuff you're doing in college, like your food and your travel stuff like that, or are you saying it pay for your tuition?
No,
Okay. Okay. Mhm. Yes.
finding this passion came at such a good time because, like, you don't have, it's like, I have time to sit for 2 hours or 3 hours and paint in my dorm room, but I don't want to go drive to Target or somewhere and work there for 6 hours. And, it's like, which the people that do that, I'm so thankful for them because, like, where
We
would
need
we
them.
be without them? We
Yes.
need them. But that was just not my desire. And
Hmm.
I was just so like, it was so thankful for the timing. But yeah, so no, they paid for my tuition, but everything outside of the actual schooling was on me. So my
Excellent.
car, I bought a car, all kinds of things. So it was,
So your car payment, your food, and going and hanging out and all that stuff.
yeah, friend gatherings, clothing, gifts for friends, Christmas gifts, all of that. It was like, okay, I'm an adult now. I wasn't on their off of insurance yet because
All
I
right.
didn't do that until I got married. But like all those things, that normally my mom just, here you go, take it, whatever. I was able to do that finally, and I was so thankful for that.
Sweet. And so now that's
Yeah.
all through college. So then tell me about this. You said your first wedding you booked in 2018. So,
Yes.
well, I mean, what made you think that you could do that? And
Okay.
how did you didn't think you could do it? Okay. All right. Tell that story.
When when I was first posed with this idea, it was not popular in 2018. It maybe had a little bit of traction, but I had only seen it like once or twice in all the realm of Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And TikTok was not a thing at the time. Um, when I was posed the question, "Hey, do you do this?" I was like, family friend. So it was my friend's dad, and he basically said, "Well, she really wants it, and I can't find anybody local or available." And he said, "I have complete faith in you that you can do this." And he was like, "So, how about we do this? You come, you do it. If we love it and you love it, I'll pay you for it. And if not, it's the experience. You're coming for the night. You're going to be there anyway. Like, let's just see. Let's just roll the dice and see how it works out." I was like, "So I just want to be clear. You want me to come and paint them like people in front of people, not only people like people that I knew. This is a very like I knew a lot of people at this wedding." He
Hmm.
was like, "Yeah." And I was like, so it was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done, but it was so, so exciting, and, like, it was, like,
Wow.
immediate. I loved it so much, and so, um, from that night, I had bookings. I booked 15 the next year, and then I think I booked 24 in 2020 or not 2020, 2021, and then it's just continuously grown. My average is about 28 weddings a year.
Wow.
Trying to do 30 this year, but obviously with a kid, I try not to do more than that just because your Saturdays are precious. And
Hmm.
but yeah, so it's just wild. It's wild how that one he had that faith in me, and how that's kind of blossomed from there.
Uh, so one of the things that we are really pushing this year in the homeschool community is that everything is better together and the community and the collaboration of people. And just listen to your story. I'm thinking about how your mother did that first step. Your mother
Right.
pushed you that first step to get out there and start doing this and making money. Then you have this family friend that come and pushes you a second step. And so It's like, like all this stuff is already in you. God already put this stuff in you, but then God has certain people that's in your life to move you to the next level. And I just think it's just such
Right.
a beautiful thing. And I love the fact that you still remember who pushed you to the next step. And you
Right.
still like are respecting and honoring them for pushing you outside of your comfort zone every time. And outside your comfort zone every time was where, wow, you had the most joy and the
Yeah,
most excitement. So
that's
that's
true.
phenomenal. I love that.
Thank
So
you.
now let's move on. So now you're doing weddings. That's what you're really in love with, and you enjoy that to the full. So tell me about your faith and how you see your faith has been woven into who you are as an artist. You can go from the beginning or even now or just that. And we still got to go back to school time because we still haven't talked
Yeah.
about you being our teacher. But talk about your faith for a second.
So, well, it's literally in my name, Hannah Faith Creations. Now, when I made that, that's my middle name that my mom gave me. So Hannah Faith Pritchard was my maiden name. So obviously at the time, it fit. My name was Hannah Faith Creations. But looking back, being able to look back on everything that God has done for me. And it just means so much more now. And obviously I kept it even when I got married. I was like, well, this ain't going nowhere because the faith that I've had in every step of the way through this is just evident. His presence and the way that he's provided for me and my business and my family has been something that, I recognize, and I keep giving him the glory in every step that I do because it's just evident, everything that he's done for me. With all that being said, when I was born into a very Christian, Jesus loving family. My grandparents quite literally built the church in which we still go to this day. My
Wow.
grandpa poured the dirt in the hole of the swamp. That was my church. And we built it up. And it's about a 500 to 1,000 plus member church in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We have, online people come in. We have the in-person people come in, and it's a non-denominational church. And I grew up fully immersed in worship. And so everyone in my family can sing, from the smallest baby to the oldest, 85-year-old person. We all can
Wow.
sing. So that's how I've felt faith and worship, growing up. And so I think it's just I didn't really have a choice. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's like I was
Mhm.
born into it. And then when I got to where I was old enough to make that choice for myself, I had already felt him in so many more ways than one that it was just such an easy decision for me to pursue him and to trust in him and everything that I do. And so when it comes to the business, you know, it's been a lot of leaps of faith, stepping out of my comfort zone and painting for people I don't know and praying that they love what I do, and, faith in having opportunities, because that's a big thing. It's like, well, what if people don't want my work? Or like, what if I'm not going to be able to support my family? It's just kind of like there's always this presence, in my conscious, which is him, just, it's going to be okay. Like, just you keep doing you, you keep glorifying me, and it's all gonna pan out okay. And so that's just I constantly that's how I feel him all the time. Because I'm just like, he's got me. It's a crazy thing to
Wow.
say, but I
Yeah.
truly believe that.
Awesome. So when I know when you're with us during the worship service, but like when you're actually painting, like privately in your home or when you're doing something out, is that a form of worship for you, or are you in another place? Like, where are you when you're painting? But
I
yes,
think it
let's get in your head for a little bit.
yeah, well, I think it just kind of depends, honestly. Like, if I'm very, very, very busy or stressed out, a lot of
Uh-huh.
times it's just getting the job done, right? Like we've got a date to get to, we've got a timeline of when this is due. So sometimes when I'm in that kind of zone, not that I don't feel him, but I'm very pressured to get it
Yeah,
done.
yeah, that's all
So
right.
when it's and it also depends on what I'm painting. So like if I'm painting like a portrait of a person, there's so much focus and technique that goes into that. So a lot of times it's okay, well, her eye is looking funky right now.
Uh-huh.
When I'm doing like a landscape or a painting of a house or a floral, that's when I can really be free and just, a rose looks like a rose, but Betty Sue looks like Betty Sue, like we have to make sure.
That she looks like herself.
Right. Yes. So I think the times that I feel him most when I'm painting is when I have that artistic freedom to just kind of just be free. And now that doesn't mean that I don't feel his presence when I'm painting, because there are times when I hate a painting. Like I'm just completely like, I'm like, this is awful. Like this is terrible. And
Really?
but then well, yes, but then there's always that presence, that noise saying, just keep going, like just keep going, it's gonna be okay. And so I feel him in those types of situations, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's kind of how my mind works. I think it just depends on the day, if I'm in a good mood or whatever too. So
So let's say you started painting and painting and you actually don't like it, but it's something
right.
that you have to produce for somebody. So do you ever just trash and start over, or do you power through and it ends up to be what you want it to be? How does that work?
I think probably the second option is what's happened more times than one, because the beautiful thing about the paint that I use is it dries really quickly. So I can just paint over my mistakes, right? Do you know who Bob Ross
Okay.
is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I don't even paint it. Yes, I know who Bob Foster. Yes.
Okay, good. His favorite quote, my favorite quote of his is, no mistakes, happy little accidents, right? So I instill that
Uh,
to my students too. So just kind of having that mindset of like, the world is literally not going to end if one of your brushstrokes doesn't add up or this part of it doesn't look right. It might be frustrating, but it's, just paint over it. Like it's not that big of a deal. So that's been a huge driving force to how I kind of look at my artwork as well, is it's okay. Like we make the mistakes to get better. Like that's how
wow.
you build your skill, and that's how you learn from yourself. You can learn a lot more from just yourself than you think, and how you kind of handle those situations. And when I hate the painting, go get a bite to eat, come back and look at it from a different perspective. So, but yeah, I think not necessarily starting over, but definitely tweaking things and honestly just painting over it and just kind of starting fresh in that way.
So cool about what you just said was that like almost everybody, not almost everybody, everyone that I talk to that has a certain level of success in whatever field they're in, they all have a very good relationship with failure. And to
Right.
hear you say that you said there are no mistakes, it's just happy little accidents.
Yeah.
And your other comment was phenomenal. You said we make mistakes to get better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And it's like it's so clear to us when little kids are just learning how to walk or they're just playing a sport. You know, we want them to keep on trying, even though they're doing a terrible job at it. But it's almost like when we get to a certain age, like we don't want to, we don't want to look crazy at all. We want to
Right.
like be perfect, like the first time and every time. And so your relationship with failure is something that I'm so glad you said, because I want to highlight that, like to all the kids and the young people that, hey, you're
Yes.
going to make mistakes and it's okay. The house isn't going to burn down. Let's just keep on moving. That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Well, and I also, with teaching, it's the sense of failure is such a underrated topic with kids. Like
Uh-huh.
they are constantly, even at 5, they are constantly comparing themselves to the person beside them and their successes, whether that is how they write the alphabet or how they write their name, or whether their coloring is not, bright enough, or they're scribbling a little bit. Like there is wild to me how that is instilled at such a young age, where your imagination should be most it will ever be when you're that little. But we're in such
Uh-huh.
a hard time that everyone is kind of put into this box of perfection, And so, like, when I'm teaching, that is something that I really, 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 really try to instill in them. Is like, it is okay. Like, you are not like them, whether it's your appearance, whether it's your art will always be your art. It's never going to be their art. And my example for you, that's just how I did it. I'm not wanting you to copy the way I do it because the way Miss Hall does it is going to be different than the way Jeremiah does it or the way Elizabeth does it. Like, you have to hone in on how you do things. And it's okay if you're not the best at painting. You might be really good at drawing, or you might not like either one, but you're trying and you're accepting that it's not going to be this picture perfect product every time. It's a really hard thing, and not just with art, it's just with kids in general. Like, they are
Uh,
so I tell them all the time, you are your biggest critic. And I'm preaching to the choir because I am so hard on myself. But yeah, that's been really eye-opening as a teacher. And I think also just understanding how artists work too. Even though they're kids, like us artists in general, we are constantly comparing ourselves to the other, to the next. So that's been a big thing for me.
wow. So what do you do with the kids? Because this is a good segue to talk about the classroom, but knowing that about the kids and about the profession of art in general, what do? You just continue to remind them that it's okay? Or like, how's the atmosphere in your class set up
Right.
that it's okay to make a mistake or to mess something up?
So I think it kind of depends on the situation, right? So I'll have some kids who kind of will come up to me and say, I hate it. I don't like it. And so when it's that situation, I'm able to have a conversation and say, well, what don't you like about it? And then if they can tell me more specifics, then I can go into, well, I actually think that you did this very well. And if I was to say anything that you could tweak to make better, not saying you did it bad, but if you would like to
Hmm.
tweak anything, maybe add some blue here, maybe press harder with the crayon or color pencil. It is never bad, right? So I'm always trying to
Wow.
take away the negative and put the positive into that. So that's one way. Now, then there's situations where the kid crumples up his paper and he throws it away and puts his head down and bangs the table, right? So in those situations, we want to take the focus off of them, almost distract everyone around them to let them keep doing what they're doing. And I'll simply ask so and so to just, hey, come here for a second. Like, what's going on? And 9 times out of 10, instead of me just kind of freaking out and saying, "Absolutely not," like, "We ain't gonna play that game." I kinda try to have a conversation with them to understand, like, what's the frustration coming from. Again, 9 times out of 10, it's stemming from, "Mine don't look as good as hers, and
Wow.
I hate." And that is such a hard I think that can be put into so many areas of our life. It's just crazy, like, understanding that. And so I think just figuring out the situation, understanding where the kid's coming from is a big way in how I handle those situations. But every single time, no matter what it is, I make them understand that it is all right. And that you are you and you will always be you. And the way you do things is the way you do things. And we can only go up from where we're at. Like, there's only area to grow, right? We're never
Mhm.
gonna go. I mean, some people you can plummet, right? But the goal is to always build
Improve.
yourself up in new things, right? And improve.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how I handle those situations.
My goodness. Okay, so now take us to the school. So I imagine you graduated from college and then you go get a job as an art teacher. So tell me about that process and what age kids and all that.
Yes. So I graduated in December of 2020. I graduated in my parents' living room in my cap and gown with
Okay.
a power slideshow because my graduation was canceled because of 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's stunk, but it's okay. But I jumped into teaching mid-year. So I took a job at the middle school that I went to in town when I was a kid. And
Mhm.
not Not the greatest experience for a multitude of different reasons. One being the time it was. It was just a really hard time, like I said earlier. The kids were coming out of isolation, being put back into an environment with people. And I'm just going to be real with you. No one knew how to act. No one. Like it was a very crazy time. And so being a first time teacher and kind of thrown into the fire, quite literally, was not something I was expecting. So I did that for about 2 years and then I took a step away. I actually took a year off from teaching, kind of swore off teaching. I'm going to be real with you because it was really disheartening. And, I had worked so hard to get the degree. And then I get there and I'm just torn down every day. And it got to the point where I was like, I'm allowing kids to affect me mentally, and
Right.
emotionally. And honestly, it's not the kids, right? It is, but it like we were just in such a bad time. And that's kind of
Right.
what I basically do, looking back. But I just wasn't confident enough or strong enough to handle it. So I quite literally ran away. So I took a year off from teaching. Then I got pregnant and then with my son. And I was painting during that year, by the way. So I tried to
Mhm.
take this full time for a year. And then I got pregnant. In my pregnancy, I was very sick throughout my pregnancy. So this big move full-time artist year that I thought I was going to have kind of got put on the back burner because
Yeah.
of my health, because of my family. Well, then the position at the elementary school that I went to growing up, crazy, I know, that opened up. And so I kind of jumped into that and took it. And I've been there for 2 years and totally different experience. I think it
Now,
has something to
why?
do with the age group. I think the age. They love you and they respect you out the gate. Like they admire everything that you do. I mean, I could literally stand in front of them and clap and spin around for 40 minutes and they would think I was the sun. Like they are just so, you know what I mean? Like they're
Yes.
just
Yes.
sweet and understanding. So I think just middle school is just a hard age group. I mean, I think about myself in middle school and quite frankly, the people that I had respect for, right? There was not a lot. There was
Uh-huh.
like you're just
I
in a
hear
weird
you.
phase. You don't trust a
Yes.
lot of people. So, but yeah, I think that that's a big part of it. And also just I love the school I'm at. So, but I've been there for 2 years, and I don't remember the last part of the question. I feel like I've gone on a tangent,
No, but
but that's
that's
kind
fine
of
because
yeah. Sorry.
that's kind of story. Yeah, no, yeah, I got you. So for middle school, then you went down to elementary school. You love elementary school more because the age of the children, they just love you to death. Now, tell me this: when you are teaching these kids at the elementary school age, are you looking for a certain spark or energy in them that's going to produce like a world class artist, or are you just teaching them the fundamentals? What's going on?
So I also went into teaching, especially elementary school, because I think a lot of times people say, when I say, "Oh, I'm an elementary school art teacher," they're like, "Oh, that must be so fun." And
Uh-huh.
so their initial idea is that I'm just like kind of doing arts and crafts, right?
Right.
I'm this person who just kind of takes them in and we use glitter and we are arts and crafting it up. My whole process in this is I have always wanted to teach content first. I want to actually
Uh,
give them something to take away from all the knowledge that I spent 4.5 years. Yes, I'm gonna give myself that half. I was a super senior. But all of the knowledge that, I learned to take it and to instill it into these kids even at a young age, whether it's a technique, whether it's an art form, whether it's a specific artist from history, like I'm really trying to make these projects and these artworks based on something of that nature. So I even from the youngest kid to the fifth grader, because a lot of times what I'll do is I'll base it on one thing. So, like, let's say color theory, and every single grade level will have a project based on color theory. It'll just be to their technique and to what they can do, what they can handle. And so I'm never worried about the products. I'm always worried about what they're going to grasp from it. And I've had parents message me like, I don't know what you're doing, but JC is at home talking about the color wheel and how there's tertiary colors, and he's 5.
Yes.
And so, like, they're able to retain it. I use humor a lot in the way I teach. I use music. I make up silly songs and I use my hands a lot. And I'm very, like, in their face and just very, you know, intentional with how I teach things. So, yeah, that's kind of how I go about that and how, like, what I teach and how I teach it.
Yeah. So basically, it's fun.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
always my goal. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. I
Yeah.
remember listening to like the older Hall of Famers in professional sports, and parents would say, "Hey, how do I get my kid to be better at basketball, football, whatever?" And the number one thing that they always said was, "Make it fun. Let the kids
Right.
actually enjoy themselves." So it looks like that
Yes.
you're doing the same exact thing, making sure that the kids enjoy themselves. So, question here. So you're still teaching at the elementary school now.
Yes. 8 more
So
days.
that's it? Only 8 more days? Okay. Well, this question is for you right now with your 8 more days. What does your day look like? And really, I want to know what your day looks like. Let's say you a typical day where you got to go teach, and let's say you have a wedding on Saturday. Like, what does your day look like? And are you preparing for the wedding like days before? What is that like?
So for the past, 2 years, 4 years, including middle school, when I have weddings on the weekends, I'm going to be real with you. I am so exhausted teaching. And I will say this until I'm blue in the face. Teachers do not get enough credit. The emotional, because I mean, think about it. Like you are these kids, everything during the week. Like we are there for them emotionally, physically, mentally, teaching them content. So like there it's a huge task. And so you come home and I'm just wiped. I'm so tired. And so it's been a really hard balancing thing, teaching, being a mom, being a wife, and being an artist on the weekends. So, as far as like how my day looks when I'm teaching, I kind of come home, I take care of the household stuff, I take care of Haynes, I spend time with Colin. If I have a commission to do, I honestly don't get to it until after Haynes goes to bed, which is 9 o'clock. And
Wow.
so I'm working very late hours. And then as far as the wedding on the weekend, I normally will prep Friday night, Friday evening. I'll get all of my supplies together, maybe even go ahead and pack the car. And that way, Saturday morning and early Saturday, like afternoon, I'm able to spend it with Haynes and Colin, my husband and my son. Do breakfast, have lunch, sit on the couch, watch a show, watch a movie. So I'm not really taking away that time on my Saturday mornings. I look forward to Saturday mornings because they're just special to me. So that's kind of how that works. So yeah, when I'm teaching, I'm like right now I am white,
I
but we're
can't tell.
here.
You still got a little bit of energy for me, so that's good.
Yeah, a little bit. Yes.
But a question, you said that you might not start your commission work till like 9 o'clock at night or so, late. So what time are you waking up to do whatever you do in the morning to get to school?
I have to wake up 5:30.
Wow. So regardless of what time you go to sleep, you're getting up at 5:30.
Yes. And I have to
Yes.
be, you have to be 100%. I mean, it's
Yeah, from
even
jump.
when you're
Yes.
not 100, even when you're not 100%, you have to act like it. You got to fake it.
Uh-huh.
You gotta, because, some of those kids, even the ones that give you the most trouble, they're the ones that need the most love and care. And
Wow.
so, when I'm not feeling my best, like I don't know, but like I can only imagine like what they're going home to. And so a lot of the kids, like they come to school to feel loved and to get that
Mm.
connection. And so that's where like selfish part of me just wants to like be a hermit in my classroom and y'all go away. But that part of me that the reason I started teaching in the first place was to make a difference in these kids' lives and to share my passions. Um, even yeah, waking up at 5:30 and just go and get the job done and be the best I can be for them is all I could do.
Wow, I
So,
love it how you say that. We don't know what type of background these kids are coming from, but in general, they're all coming and they want to feel loved. Like,
right,
I want to know that my teacher actually sees me and loves me for who I am.
right.
That's so special. Moving on out of that, now, how do you remain so good at what you do? Is it because you do it so often, or honestly, do you have like time where you just practicing something, like you're just practicing a new skill, or is it because you draw or you're an artist like 24/7, you really don't have extra time to practice? Do your hands get tired or your shoulders or whatever? So,
My lower back has been like the main thing hurting me lately, but I think it's my posture. So I think I need to get one of those like back things that
those
holds
back
me
brace
back.
things, yeah.
Yes, but no, I think it honestly just comes with the more I do, the better I get. So, like we talked about earlier, like the more mistakes you make, the better your skill gets. So it's like every wedding that I do or every commission that I do, I learn something new about me as an artist. Like a technique that I try. Like I try to not like obviously there's a way I do things, right? There's a time in which I do things. Like I have a set way of how to go about things, but there's every single wedding that I do, I always try something new, like a different
Wow.
brush or maybe a different method on how to cover this area or how to go about the portraits. Like I'm always trying new things to try and be more efficient, to be more particular with my portraits or my brush making, brush stroke making. And so I think it just comes with the experience. The more I do, the better I get. And I mean, truly, practice makes perfect. I know that's a cliche thing to say, but the more you do something, the more comfortable you're going to get with it, the more well versed in your skill you're going to get. And so I think that's just honestly what it is. Now, I have done a few online courses just to kind of keep the juices flowing and to get new information instilled in me. And I actually went to a live wedding painters conference in January. And it was only live wedding painters, 54 of us from all over America. That was so inspiring to me. It actually was a big driving force when I came home from that. That was kind of like what's the saying? I can't even talk right now.
The
Icing on
nail
the
in the
cake.
coffin.
There you go. Nail on the coffin. That made me go, okay, I'm doing this. And so I had been thinking about it for a long time. And then yeah, I went there and I was just so inspired by all these other artists who are doing it. And I was like, why am I not doing this now? So I've done things like that where I've been able to grow my skill in that way. But I think honestly the biggest thing is just doing it and doing more of it makes me more skilled in what I do.
And you also mentioned that you try something new every
Yes.
wedding. So it's
Yeah.
almost like, you know what you can do, but you're always pushing the edge and you're going to the edge and you're going to the edge. And
Yes.
once again, that's why I hear from a lot of people that are extremely great at what they do. They are always trying something new and trying to push. They don't rest and relax
Right.
and say, I'm good enough. They know that there's always another level that they can go to, and that's what they're pushing every time.
Well, I love games, right? So like I'm really big on challenges. Like I've always been that way. Like as I'm very competitive and so I think that that has a big part in how I handle things. I'm constantly honestly wanting to one up the last painting I did. Like I'm trying to one up myself, which is funny. Like
That's
thinking
good.
about it that way, but it's true. Yeah.
You're trying to beat
Yep.
yourself.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
love all these sports analogies because Michael Jordan said that he wasn't competing against the other guy across the court. He was competing with the best that he thought that he could be. And so he was always
Right.
pushing himself against himself. And so, I mean, that's the same thing you're describing. So, I mean, I love it. And yeah, I compare you to Michael Jordan. Isn't that cool?
I like that. I'll take it. I can't dribble. I can't do none of that to save my life, but I'll take it.
Yeah, you're great at what you do. So, another thing I want to shift to like your business right now, not you teach at the school, but your business. And you talked about, or talked about how you really want to create lasting relationships with your clients. So in which way do you create those type of relationships with your clients? And it sounds like what you're saying is when you do a project or a painting for someone, it's not a transaction. It's more of a commitment and a covenant relationship that you're having with the couple and so forth. So explain that to me.
Yeah, so I think no matter what I'm doing, whether it's a live painting or guest portraits or mural or a dog painting, house painting, whatever, the driving force of that is how they're going to react to my art. So, what is this bringing to them? The joy that it's going to bring to them, knowing that I'm trying to gain a smile from what I create is a big part in what I do. So even before I put a paint stroke on a canvas, I'm wanting to make that connection with them that basically builds trust in them, or trust. They're trusting me to create something, that will last forever for them, that they'll cherish forever. So I'm always trying to initially get that relationship with them and let them understand, like, hey, look, this is who I am. I want to know about your story. I want to, even if it's about their dog, like, when did you get your dog? Like, what's their name? And I'm always trying to go the extra mile to make them feel special and to let them understand that I've got you. Like, I completely am gonna pour my heart and soul into this and create something that you will love. And
Wow.
so that's a that's a huge part in what I do is me, my personality, and gaining those relationships. I'm a huge people pleaser too, so that also helps. That's one of my biggest downfalls, but also one of my biggest strengths. So yeah.
So, with that in mind, what was something that you did that was extremely memorable, like a wedding or an event?
That that's literally the hardest question. That's like when someone asks you, like, "What's your favorite song?" And you're like,
All of them. Yeah.
but all of them. But there is one. I did a wedding painting, and it was actually for a friend that went to art school with me, and she ended up hiring me as her painter, which was really special. And her dad had passed away a year prior. And so in the
Wow.
painting, I painted him on the front pew of her ceremony, like watching her get married. And that was her reaction to that and how special it was. Like, I could tell how much that meant to her. And I think that alone is that memory of seeing how that affected her emotionally, and you can just tell she was going to treasure that for forever. So I think that probably is the most memorable moment of a piece. Now, but I will tell you, like, for almost I don't even know how long. I guess 9 years. I don't know. I don't even know how many paintings I've done. I don't really know there's been some times that I know faces really well. So, like, I'll see somebody, I'm like, I think I've painted for them. But I really can't tell you, especially over the past like 5 years, because that's been huge, life altering moments have happened in 5 years. Being married and having a baby, pregnancy brain's a real thing. So I kind of forget what I create sometimes. And so I know, though, every time I create something, there's hardly a time that I don't like it when it's done. And so I'm pretty proud of everything that I do, even the ones that my very first paintings that sometimes I look at, I'm like, there's so many things I would change. Each of them have their own story and each of them are so special and each of them completely are about this couple that trusted me with this. And so, I'm very proud of those and passionate about the ones that I've done in the past. So I think that's the most like biggest memory though, like special moment of a painting that I've done.
Well, I would say so. I couldn't even imagine someone
Yeah.
even coming up with the concept of doing something like that.
Yeah,
Wow.
because I asked, I say, is there ever anything special you want me to add into the painting that's not particularly there, like that we don't see? And so she said, could you do this? And I was like, yes, send me all the photos. And so even with her knowing that it was going to be in there, I think just her seeing it and like it was like a dream come true for her, for him to be there,
Right.
even though he wasn't there, he's in spirit in the painting. And so it was really, and I think I also added in the groom's grandma. And so, but obviously I had more of a connection with the bride because I went to school with her. So just it was just like initial. As soon as I flipped the canvas around, she just, I mean, just lost it. And I was like, oh my God, it was just so special. So I'll never forget that.
Wow, that's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
tell me this. Now, who is your ideal client? Who would you really like to say, "Hey, Hannah, come paint this portrait for me"? Who's your ideal client? A couple that's in love, 80-year-old
Yeah.
couple that's getting married for the first time? What?
I think my ideal client, I love when people give me artistic freedom because that immediately tells me that they wholeheartedly trust me in my craft. So when they're like, when I ask them questions, more specifics, they're like, I trust you. Like, I want you to do you. That just means the world to me. And honestly, it kind of just takes a lot of pressure off. And so those clients are really fun to work with because I can just kind of go crazy with my, creative thoughts and things. But then it is also nice for some things to have more direction. So I love those clients. I also love the client who loves humor because that's just kind of my middle name, honestly. I'm constantly making jokes. And so I love a sarcastic client and I love, being able to joke around with people and bring humor and light into these moments. Is a
Yes.
big part for me too. So I love a story. I love hearing your story. I love learning about you and your family and, where you've come from, where you're going. And uh, I mean, I just love people. I love people. I guess that's just people who trust me, I guess, is a main thing. And anybody who is willing to come to me for any creative reason, is so special to me. So I'm so blessed, and thankful for anybody. But I guess that would be kind of my favorite people.
Well said, well said. Now tell
Yeah.
me this. What's next for you? I know you said 8 days. You're moving out in 8,
8 days.
you're done in 8 days? Right. So that's the big
Yes.
thing that's next. So tell me what that looks like. Tell me about your facility and what your life is going to look like in the next 10 days after it's all over.
Yes. Yes. So after school's out, so 8 days is when that's the kids' last day of school. So after that, we have a work week. So that work week is I'm just going to be cleaning out my classroom and leaving stuff for the next art teacher and kind of organizing it in that way. After that, I am full-fledged into the studio. So I am naming my studio the Art Hall. And at the Art Hall, it's going to be like a working gallery. So I will be working on commissions throughout the week. So paintings that people are wanting me to do, whether that's a house portrait, people portrait, dog portrait, whatever. I'll be doing that throughout the week. And then I will also have paintings for sale. So I'll have like a gallery wall. So I'm making it very like elegant and elevated space. So where people can walk in and they feel it's not just like your craft area, if that makes sense. Like I really want it to be a place of true art. Come in. So I'm going to have a place for paintings for sale constantly. I also have space for workshops. So I'm going to be teaching workshops throughout the week, hopefully about 3 a month is the goal.
Wow.
I'm probably going to open up private art lessons depending on the need and the desire for that. Summer camps for kids, that's a possibility. And then just doing my regular everyday office work stuff. Because again, I'm not just the artist, I'm the business manager, I'm the financial aid person, I'm the website designer, I'm the email person. So I wear a lot of hats. And so it's just going to be such a blessing to have a space to set. Because as you can see, this is my messy studio at home, but to have a place to go to separate home and work, it's going to be really, really, really nice. And so I'm just very excited. So I'm hoping my opening day will be June 21st. That is the
June 20.
goal that yep, that's the goal that I've put in mind. Obviously that can shift, but right now that's what we're looking at. So I'm hoping to have an opening day then. But I'm very excited.
Are you having like a ribbon cutting and all that?
My friend was like, you should possibly. I don't really know yet. I don't know how that day is going to look, but I do know that I want it to be a community thing. So I'm trying to get local businesses because where my business is going to be at is it's in a part of town called Haymount. So it's right outside of downtown Fayetteville. So it's this little area of booming businesses. Like
Mm,
there's all kinds of stuff, especially like more frequently very popular places, like community involved places that have popped up, restaurants, and stuff like that, little boutiques and stuff. So I'm trying to get community involvement from those other businesses, to try and make it a nice experience for people. So I'll have my cousin who comes with me to weddings and does the guest portraits. I'm going to have her be doing guest portraits throughout the day for people. I'm going to have a raffle, and I'm going to have lists where people can sign up for classes or summer camps if they want, buy paintings if they want, come up and see the space. So I'm trying to make it interactive and promote it that way. So we'll see how it pans out. But that's the goal. That's the idea.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
So you're doing the art hall and everything, and I could see you have like so many different things that you're already doing, and then you have so many things that you want to do. So, like, where's your help coming from? You just mentioned someone that's like what was that, a guest painter or something like that or whatever?
My cousin Erica.
Your cousin. So
Yeah.
so you do have help in certain areas or whatever. So do you see yourself like hiring other people certain times, or you're gonna wait till you just can't handle it and then you're gonna start trying to hire other people? Because you got, I mean, because honestly you have big dreams, and it's
Yes, I do.
like I feel like, you're going to get into space and you're going to see all the stuff that you could possibly do, and you're going to try to do it all, and everything that you're going to touch, it's going to start to grow, and people are going to like it, and people are going to want it. And then I feel like you're going to need some help pretty quick. So what are
Yeah.
your thoughts about that? Do you see yourself bringing in someone else that can help, because this is your baby and this is your
Yeah.
thing? So do you
Yeah.
see yourself being able to bring someone in, maybe just to do the finances or anything?
Yes. I think that just kind of comes with time and kind of figuring it out. Right now, I know I could use help, but financially, I'm able to handle it right now, on my own. But I think it is for sure going to come if it is as successful as I am praying for it to be and hoping it to be, I'm definitely going to need help. But like you said, it is my baby and I hate asking for help. I take on a lot on my own, and that's been one of my biggest problems as being an adult is I don't say no a lot either. So I take on a lot of projects at a time. I've gotten better, but
Uh-huh.
trusting that person to come in and help is definitely something I know is on the horizon. I just don't know exactly when. But I think just getting the business up and running and kind of seeing how it runs and how I run and that kind of thing is a big part of making that decision. But as far as Erica coming on board, I just started offering guest portraits as a service. And so when people were first inquiring about it, I was not offering them because I was at weddings. Like I didn't have the time. And so I actually brought her on and taught her how to do them. And so she comes as my assistant, but also as another artist when we go to weddings and do guest portraits together. And she's also literally like my built-in best friend. That's my double first cousin. So our dads are brothers and our moms are sisters. So we are as close to siblings as we can get.
Wow.
If I'm going to trust somebody, literally, if I need a kidney, I
She's the
can go to
one
her. I can trust her with this. So, but yeah, I think it's just going to come with just time and figuring it out,
figuring it out.
but I'm definitely open
Beautiful.
to it. That's yeah, for sure.
Good. So
Yeah.
check this out. This is the big thing.
Hmm.
So we're talking to homeschool parents and we're talking to homeschool students. And I feel like there's a big deal. And honestly, I know two young ladies right now that are artists, and they would love to be able to do something like what you're doing full time. I
Right.
want you to talk from a parent's perspective, and what should a parent be saying to their child or provoking the child to do. And then I want you to say something like to the actual kid that's still in high school, still hasn't sold anything, and like what type of internal conversations should they be having? Give us some insight to that from the parent's point of view and for the child.
So I think from a parent's point of view, is to take away your preconceived notions as to, especially when it comes to art, as to what it could be, because I think we all have grown up where it is just a hobby. It's something that we like to do. Because even when I was younger, it wasn't that because I didn't have that passion when I was super young, right? I never in a million years would have thought this would be me, would be my reality. So I think, especially now with art becoming such a driving force and such a huge career, allowing them to have those dreams and those desires is such a
That's
huge
good.
thing, not cutting them off, right? Not immediately being like, well, let's pump the brakes a little bit, allowing them to be dreamers is
Mm,
a big thing.
that's good.
And I teach that to my kids too, at school is because I guess teachers kind of are viewed as like a parent in the school too, right? We're there to take
Uh,
care of them. So it's always like believing in yourself and just allowing them, and like we said earlier, to make those mistakes and to get better at the things they do is the only way they're going to be able to chase those dreams, giving them the wheels to go and do, and like my mom was my biggest supporter, even though she didn't know what this would be. She literally was the driving force for this. My dad bought my first easel. She was buying all my stuff. Like, I think just giving them the tools to take this dream to a level that maybe they wouldn't expect, the part of it. So I think that probably is a good point for the parent to look at from a different perspective.
that's excellent.
As far as the kid go, or the children go who are wanting to pursue this, who think of this as a career or a passion, I know it's cliche, but it is truly to never give up on yourself. When we've said this again, we are always going to be our biggest critic in life. We're always going to tear ourselves down. We're in such a world of comparison. Like, social media is so bad. It's amazing, but it is so bad when it comes to comparison because we don't look at the reality. We don't see the reality on social media. We're given this false, viewpoint, which, I mean, to a certain level, I mean, when it's your business, you're trying to promote positivity and happiness. So like,
Uh-huh.
you're never a lot of the realness doesn't come out when it's business related. So I don't post my failures, right? We don't really post about our failures. We post our successful paintings, and we post
Yes,
our, opportunities that we're having. And so that is every artist. That is every business person, no matter what it is. So we're constantly in a state of, well, they're doing that. And gosh, I wish I could do that. Or I don't have that many weddings or whatever. So I think just staying true to yourself, understanding that there is a time for everything and your time will come, no matter what that looks like, just believing and understanding that it's going to be okay, and just to keep going and believing that you can do this, is a big thing to take away, and just not ever giving up on who you are. Um,
good.
oh, that's kind of my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. So, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you would like to share? I tried to touch on anything. Am I missing anything?
I think we covered a lot. I could talk to a brick wall, so if I talk too much, I'm sorry.
No, you are the best. I love it. The thing that I love about you is, well, first of all, you're easy to talk to, but it's really easy to talk to people that really have a passion for what they're doing. And so it's easy. So tell me this: what's the best way for people to get in touch with you? I know about hannahfaithcreations.com. I'm gonna have a link in that down below, and on Instagram, Hannah Faith
Yep.
Creations on Instagram. Those are the two best places, right? So we can stay in touch and find out what you're doing.
Yes, definitely. If you want to keep in the loop of what I'm doing, Instagram is a great place. I also have a TikTok. I'm not the best poster on there, but that's going to come with being better. But if you ever want an inquiry, my website has several links for that, as well as my email, and it's just hannahfaithcreations.com or at gmail.com. And I'm really good at answering that.
Yeah,
So
excellent. Well, Hannah, thank you so much. Thank you for spending
absolutely.
time with me. I know you could have been with your family. You could have been drawing and making some art or anything, but I really do appreciate you sharing your story, because the story that you're sharing is, it's not just for me, but it's for those other little kids and even the parents that want to be where you are. and they want to have that
Right.
voice, and they want to have the encouragement, and they want to know, hey, never give up. It's all right to fail. So you've done a beautiful job with expressing yourself and just spreading the love to a bunch of people that you don't even know. But I do appreciate your time, and I respect that. And
Yes.
God bless you. And I believe, oh, June, what's that? June 21st. I'm praying right now,
Yeah.
June 21st, exceedingly above
Yeah.
whatever you ask or think. June 21st is going to be an awesome beginning, a new beginning for you. So
Thank
we
you.
love you here on the podcast, Homeschool Aficionado, and we will definitely be in touch.
Okay. Sounds good. I can't wait.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you so
great
much
night.
for your time. All right. You
You
too.
are welcome. Bye-bye.
Wasn't that awesome? Didn't you just love Hannah? So listen to this. Go down in the show notes. Find her Instagram link. Go over to her Instagram and show us some love. Look at the stuff that she's doing over there. She really, really has some cool stuff. What I like about the interview is you got to learn about the story behind the artist. So now that you know the story behind the artist, go to her Instagram and find out how actually skilled she is at her craft. She just opened, by the time of this recording, she just opened her new location. So find out all about that and go check her out. Just give Hannah some love for me. Share this podcast, like it, leave some comments down below. Thank you so much for joining me for this entire hour. We had a great time, and I'll see you soon.